Well, we're still in the time of the high holidays of Judaism, but there's some who are looking beyond this. And I want to read excerpts from an article in Arutz Sheva. It's an Israeli newspaper. The article's entitled, "We're basically in World War III." We're in it, World War III. Ken Abramowitz says, U.S. President Trump is clearest in a long time, but must realize there is no military solution to Iran and North Korea. No military solution, says this philanthropist, Ken Abramowitz. According to Abramowitz, war is inevitable. We're basically in World War III, he said. Iran has promised to kill everyone in America, death to America, genocide against America, and now genocide against Israel. But as the President of the United States, he has a responsibility to protect us. It's one thing to speak about Iran, it's another thing to do something about Iran. The administration hasn't yet realized that there's no non-military solution for Iran and North Korea. When you're dealing with professional terror organizations like that, you can't negotiate with differences. Negotiation is not open. In the next 15 years, either Iran or America will now not exist as we know it today. Basically, we'll find out which one won't exist in 15 years. The Iran deal is a figment of the world's imagination, Abramowitz said, noting that, quote, Iran never signed the deal, end of quote. The deal with Iran doesn't exist. It's all in the imagination of the people. Iran never signed the deal. There is no deal. It's just a question of when America accepts the fact and that there's no deal, that it realizes that it must protect itself. Iran is working on nukes and ICBMs. You only need ICBMs to blow up America. So the plans are there to blow up America. We just can't sit around and think about it. And as I've read that, I've wondered if this man hasn't read the New Testament about the end times, because the end times declare that, only much worse. For example, in Matthew 24, which if you want to know what's going to take place in the days ahead, read Matthew 24. There's a sequence of events that are there that fully describe what's coming. For example, says there will be wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, famines, pestilence, so on. And he says, then you, speaking to believers, and this is Jesus speaking, then you'll be handed over to be persecuted and put to death. You'll be hated by all nations because of me. Believers will be hated by all nations because of their belief in Jesus. And at that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. And verse 15, so when you see standing in the holy place the abomination of desolation, spoken of by the prophet Daniel, for then, verse 21, then there will be great distress, great tribulation worldwide, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equal again. If those days had not been cut short, no one would survive, but for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. Those days will be shortened. What are those days like? Well, read Revelation chapter 8, starting there. That's where the trumpets, the 7 trumpets are. And just to give you some indication of what those trumpets refer to, in chapter 9, verse 15, it says, the 4 angels who'd been kept ready for the very hour and day and month and year were released to kill a third of mankind. A third of mankind are killed. And the number of the mounted troops that conduct this was 200 million. I heard the number. Verse 18, a third of mankind was killed by the three plagues of fire, smoke, and sulfur. That's what's coming. Not only World War III, but the devastation, unprecedented devastation. And that God's people will suffer under it for a time. Verse 29 in Matthew 24 says this, immediately after the distress and the tribulation of those days, after this, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. At that time, the sign of the Son of Man, of Jesus, his sign will appear in the sky, and all the nations of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. And he will call his angels, and with a loud trumpet call, loud shofar sound, they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. He will gather his elect. Now that's what's coming, folks. And we're not hearing that from the pulpits. Our pastors, our teachers are not preparing us for that which is coming. Our prayer is that God in his grace will indeed prepare his people for the coming disaster. In Jesus' name.